Okay, I'm here. I'm back once again. My name still remains Ope Olowa Oni. And when buying your piece of property, it's often there's often the dilemma of where do I source this property from? Okay, so this video is going to be addressing how to avoid the mistake of sourcing when buying a piece of property. Okay, so follow me. Let's just nose dive into um, what we have today. So today's teaching, like I mentioned, um, I'll be looking at how to avoid the mistakes of sourcing. Sourcing is very important. If you have decided that, okay, I want to buy a piece of property, in this case we are looking at land actually. So I want to buy a piece of land, and you've determined the purpose, you've determined your budget, you've looked at the location. So now let's take for instance that you want to buy a piece of property somewhere in the on the island. So you have basically determined the location where you want to buy this piece of property from. So the next thing that you need to do is that, how do I get this property? Okay, because the property might not be written on it that, okay, house for sale with VI. So most of the time it doesn't happen that way. Okay, of course there's possibility that you're just driving through a place and you see the place empty and you want to make inquiry. Those are some of the ways people can make inquiries and all of those things. So there are basic things that you need to really understand, and so you don't source the wrong way. You don't use the wrong set of people when you are sourcing. So who are the people that you can use? You can use an agent, registered agent. For instance, in Lagos State, there's a body that regulates real estate transaction body. I think LASRERA or something like that. So you can look at accredited agents that you can use when you are sourcing for your piece of property. Okay, so you can use the known name, well-known, established name, people that are property managers and all of that. You can look at them up. You can check them online, especially in these days of online. Verify, investigate before you put down your money, because that's very important, so that you not lose your hard-earned fund. Okay, so you can decide to use your lawyer. There are property lawyers that will help you in the documentation. So also most of them do property management too. So you can decide to go with them. They will help you a great deal with due diligence, documentation, and help you to source for good location. And they will also sourcing is the foundation of due diligence, because if you do not, for one reason or the other, get the right set of property, it will show when you are doing your due diligence. Okay, so it's very important, and you need to the power of local agents are very important, because most of these local agents have been operating in a particular area for so long, so they understand the history of some of this property, and they know who the owners of these properties are. Yes, their SSs might be there, but you just have to find an intelligent way to curtail their SSs, right? So, but they are still your best bet, especially when you already know the location that you want to buy a piece of property for. For land, for instance, most of the time you are hunting this land from locals. Okay, so those are some of the things that you need to really do. Who are the people that understand their language? Who are the people that understand their culture? Who are the people that understand what government presence in some of those areas too are? Because there might not be government presence in the immediate, but there's possibility that there are government presence in the future. Okay, so let's I just felt that I need to do that introduction so that we can establish some facts about sourcing for a piece of property. Okay, so sourcing for a potential location is a critical important aspect of decision making. Yeah, it's very important, because getting it right from sourcing, it will cascade into your due diligence, taking possession, occupation, and eventually maybe building and the rest thing that you want to do with the land. Okay, so it's very important. So the choice of location can significantly impact the success and the value of your property. So let's say, for instance, now in VI, okay, do you want it on the island, right? You want a piece of property on the island. Do you want it in Broad Street? Do you want it in VR? Or in fact, probably you need it for your business. There are some business that are just coded and can significantly be within a residential area. I remember many years ago, I was going for a business meeting, and I think we were supposed to tender something, and so we're given an appointment. We got to the place. The whole place was like a residential area and all of that. And the person we're going to be meeting stays at the top floor, but he uses the ground floor as an office. And because the kind of business that he does not require people working customer often, so he used both his residential and office as just one location. Okay, so for someone like that, when he's sourcing, he's always going to be, he's not just going to be looking for an office, he's also going to be looking for a place for residence, but that can serve as an office. In fact, that location was so perfect that it suits an office, because you don't even know that somebody stays in the building. It was later on I realized that the person stays in that same building. Okay, so it helps you, predetermine purpose will help you to narrow down to, okay, this is actually what I want. In fact, you can narrow it down to a particular street. Okay, for instance, now we are sourcing for a property for a church, and because of the purpose and strategic positioning of the church in the current location they've narrowed down to, from the beginning of a particular road to the end of a particular road, where that church must reside. Because number one, the church doesn't want to lose membership and all of that. So this is very important. Okay, you can either source from a primary market or a secondary market. So those are the two major places you can source from. Okay, so what is primary market? Primary market is most of the time when you are buying a piece of land and you are buying from the indigenes or the settlers of that location. Okay, so what this means, the implication of this is that number one, the location does not have any form of documentation, so you need to do more work in terms of your due diligence. You need to verify the family, how many family owns this property. All those due diligence are very important in this particular case. So you need to more work will be done because you are sourcing from a primary market, so that you will buy right. So you're still going to look at the mistakes of buying, okay, so that you will buy right. So that is very important. Then sourcing from a secondary market is also as delicate as actually a primary market. So what title does it have? So secondary market basically already has a title. So somebody has bought it from the indigene or bought it from government and wants to now resell for you. So what that means is that the person has gone through the pain of perfecting the title. So what this the implication of this means that you have a title that is registered, that can be searched and traced. The ownership of that title can be searched and traced, and that is a big deal when you are buying a property, especially from this part of the world. Okay, so you don't want to you don't want to make that mistake, right? So there are two different thing entirely. Most of the time when you're buying from secondary market, it's usually more expensive when you're buying from the primary market. But you see, there's a cost of doing something and the cost of not doing something. Okay, buying it from secondary market will give you some measure of peace of mind, right? But buying it from primary market means that you are the one that will go through the rigor and the stress of perfecting the title and all of those things. So those are some of the challenges that comes with both primary market and secondary market. So let me begin to drive home with this point. And you see, what determines whether you should buy from primary market or secondary market is basically your purpose. Your purpose, which is the number one thing, will determine whether I'm buying from primary market or secondary market. And sometimes too is the budget, the availability of funds that is with you at that very point in time. So you want to do it in phases. You don't want something that both the documentation and the property itself has been lumped together. And how long do you really want to hold on to this property is also very important. For so those that are looking at 30 years, you might say, okay, see, God, let me buy from primary market and then hold on to it and be perfecting my title in phases. And most likely people that are in this category are people that want to actually resell. Okay, so that is equally very important. So three reasons among many other reasons why the right location sourcing is very important. Number one, it will help the appreciation of the property. It will help in the appreciation of that very property. So that property is going to appreciate more when you source for it right. When there are no issues, when there are no challenges. I remember I wanted to buy a piece of property one time, and because I think it was the third or fourth person, yes, I think fourth person, we are going to be the fifth buyer, because that means somebody has bought it from primary market, sold it to someone, sold it to someone. So in the first two people that bought it, the first three people that bought it, the original owner didn't do documentation. The first buyer, which is the second owner in this case, did not do any documentation. The third buyer did not do any documentation. The fourth person we want to now buy it from, he was the one that started the process of documentation, and he presented the property to us as a property that already has a title. So it gives it a different price. It gives a bloated price. However, at that point in time, the title of that property was not even out yet, and it really caused some form of tension and in the transaction, and eventually the transaction never sailed through. Okay, so it helps in the appreciation of the property. So people place more premium, okay, place more premium on properties that already has a title. Okay, so the next thing is the market demand, right? So you source where the market demand is high. So when you source from where the market demand is high, what it means is that the property is probably going to be very, very expensive. Today, for instance, probably you are building, you want to do short let, or you want to do it for rental purposes. Places like Yaba, Ebute Metta, Surulere in Lagos are usually have high demand. Bagada, these are places that most of the time are on the mainland, but the proximity to the island is very, 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 very high. And because, for instance, a place like Bagada to VI is less than 30 to between 15 minutes and 30 minutes, and the same Bagada to airport, which is another key hub. I mean, we've spoken about that when we're looking at location, which is also very, very important. Is that another 15, in fact, sometimes even 10 to 20 minutes drive to the airport. Imagine, look at how strategic Bagada is. So that's why the property of Bagada is one of the most expensive locations in Lagos State. So Bagada to Ikeja, the seat of government, Bagada to Maryland. So there are a lot of places that it links to and it busts out to, and the infrastructure is also there. Okay, so sourcing right to it helps you to do proper investigation, right? So so number one, we talked about property appreciation. Number two, we talked about market demand. And number three, proper investigation. There's a saying, trust but still investigate. Yes, you can trust the source but still investigate. Ask questions, ask the local question. Whether you are sourcing from primary market or secondary market, ask proper questions. Okay. Wow, thank you very much for staying tuned to the end of this video. My name still remains Ope Oluwaoni. So you can win. Don't let anybody tell you that you can win. See you in my next video. Don't forget, share, like, subscribe and comment.